The grandeur of royalty often hides the lesser-known, sometimes unsettling aspects of life behind palace doors. Queen Elizabeth II, the longest-reigning monarch in British history, was revered around the world for her dignity, discipline, and grace. But like any human, she had her peculiarities, some charming, some baffling, and a few downright shocking. In this exposé, we explore the top 5 most disgusting, shocking, and secret habits of Queen Elizabeth, not to tarnish her image, but to reveal the hidden layers behind the royal mask. Habit 1. The raw meat facial ritual. One of the strangest secrets to the Queen's youthful appearance was a bizarre beauty treatment: raw meat facials. Inspired by a centuries-old belief in natural enzymes, Queen Elizabeth reportedly indulged in facial treatments using slices of raw veal to rejuvenate her skin. Palace insiders have claimed that she would apply these cold meat slices to her face for 20 minutes during private hours. While it might have contributed to her glowing skin, the idea of meat juice on royal cheeks certainly falls into the realm of the grotesque. Habit 2. Dog bowl tasting. Queen Elizabeth's love for her corgis was legendary. But what many don't know is how far she went to ensure their comfort. The Queen reportedly insisted on personally inspecting, and sometimes even tasting, the food prepared for her beloved dogs. Royal kitchen staff confirmed that she would sometimes dip a finger or even a silver spoon into their gourmet meals to ensure they were seasoned and cooked properly. Though her devotion to her pets is touching, the image of a monarch sampling dog stew raises more than a few eyebrows. Habit 3. Hoarding breakfast items in a palace filled with opulence. Queen Elizabeth had an oddly frugal streak. She was known to hoard tiny packets of jams, marmalades, and butters from breakfast trays. Staff reported that she would even carry them to different rooms or stash them in drawers to use later. These weren't luxury imports, just basic condiments that most would overlook. For someone presiding over a vast empire, her attachment to miniature condiment jars was both baffling and amusing. Habit 4. Secretive nail clipping in public spaces. Though she maintained impeccable grooming standards, there were rare moments when the Queen indulged in private habits in not-so-private spaces. Former palace workers and close aides shared anecdotes of her discreetly clipping her nails while seated in private royal boxes or secluded corners of formal events. Always careful to hide the act behind a handkerchief or handbag, the image of the Queen mid-manicure at a state event remains one of the most human and surprising images of the monarch. Habit 5. Talking to dead relatives. The Queen was known for her deep spiritual beliefs, but few knew about her nightly ritual of conversing with her deceased parents and sister. In her private chambers at Buckingham Palace, she reportedly kept portraits of King George VI and the Queen Mother and would sit silently before them for several minutes every night, whispering updates and seeking guidance. While many might see this as a touching sign of devotion, others within the palace found it eerie. The soft murmurs in empty rooms fueled many ghost stories among younger staff members. These unusual habits do not define Queen Elizabeth, but they certainly add depth to our understanding of her. Beyond the crown, beyond the ceremonies, was a woman who clung to personal quirks, some rooted in love, some in history, and some that remain unexplained. Continuing our deep dive into the lesser-known and more bizarre aspects of Queen Elizabeth's personal life, it's essential to remember that these habits, while shocking or off-putting to some, were part of the woman who held the throne for over 7 decades. They reflected not only her personal preferences, but also the pressures, isolation, and sheer longevity of her reign. Expanding on the top 5 habits, raw meat facials revisited. While many royals around the world indulge in the latest beauty technologies, Queen Elizabeth's adherence to raw meat facials was not just a fleeting experiment. She reportedly first adopted this method during the 1960s, and it remained a monthly ritual. Dermatologists employed by the palace confirmed that the Queen believed the raw meat's cold texture and natural enzymes helped reduce puffiness and rejuvenated her skin. Despite its grotesque nature, some Hollywood celebrities secretly followed her example after learning of this unusual trick. Dog bowl tasting and royal kitchen drama. The Queen's involvement in her pets' meals went far beyond tasting. According to insiders, she once overruled her royal chef after claiming the lamb stew prepared for her corgis was underwhelming. This led to a rare kitchen standoff, in which the Queen directed a new recipe be created using a blend of meats, herbs, and vegetables. She even reviewed the cooking schedule to ensure the food was never reheated. The staff were simultaneously amused and terrified of her passion for her pet's cuisine. Hoarding habit origins. The hoarding of breakfast items began during World War II, when rationing was common. Young Elizabeth grew up in an era when every crumb was precious. This habit, born from scarcity, persisted throughout her life. Even after becoming queen, she would sometimes ask her staff to pack leftover breakfast jars if she was traveling. The royal pantry contained dozens of half-used jam packets, meticulously labeled by date. Public nail clipping and etiquette. Rebellion. Royal etiquette is notoriously rigid, but Queen Elizabeth sometimes bent the rules. Clipping nails in public, even discreetly, was one such act. It wasn't a frequent behavior, but palace historians suggest it was her subtle form of rebellion against constant scrutiny. During long official events, she would keep a tiny nail kit in her purse. Once, during a diplomatic reception, she was caught mid-trim by a visiting dignitary who politely pretended not to notice. The Queen, unbothered, smiled and continued her conversation. Speaking to the dead, a ritual of reflection. The Queen's nightly conversations with deceased family members were not just habit, they were ritual. She believed that speaking aloud to her late father helped her make decisions. She once confided in her chaplain that she received comfort, and sometimes even clarity, during these silent moments. Her staff respected this practice, often ensuring she was not disturbed during those late evening hours. Some visitors even reported a chilling feeling when passing her room during these sessions. Final thoughts. In public, Queen Elizabeth II was the embodiment of formality, duty, and restraint. But behind palace walls, she was a woman of eccentric rituals, private comforts, and deeply personal behaviors. These 5 habits, while strange or unsettling, humanize her in ways history books often overlook. They remind us that even those in the highest positions of power have their quirks, some amusing, some bizarre, and some forever mysterious. And perhaps it's in these habits where the real Queen Elizabeth lives on, not just in the pages of royal history, but in the hidden corners of Buckingham Palace, where secrets whispered in the night still echo through the halls.